Radio Raheem here with the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi, wearing many hats at CBS Sports Today. You're a fighter, you're a broadcaster, you're an analyst. What is most important to you right now?
As far as in boxing?
In your career, I mean, you've got 3 careers going at the same time. Where's your focus lying?
I'm a very focused individual. As far when it comes to achieving my goals, I can't say I have one particular one that's more important than the other, but obviously I feel like I'm a boxer first. I still feel like I'm a boxer. When people ask me what I do for a living, I still say I'm a fighter, and then I also work as an analyst. So I haven't started answering that question with I'm a commentator. I'm always a fighter. So I feel like my boxing career is number one until it's over, and right now it's not over.
You've got a huge fight coming up in just a couple of weeks, so your career definitely in the ring is not over. Paulie Malignaggi has gotten opportunity after opportunity, and it's because the fans keep showing up to watch you. Danny Garcia seems like a younger fighter that has the advantage in this. People aren't really giving you a shot in this fight. Talk to me about how you analyze a fight and why you took it.
I think it's not anything new. I've been in this position before. When I fought Juan Diaz, I was coming off the Ricky Hatton loss. I was going to Houston, and people just thought I was going there to make Juan look good, and my career was over. And I was able to turn things around in that fight. Then I was also able to do the same thing when I went to Ukraine and fought Sinchenko. I'd taken a big loss to Amir Khan. I had a couple of comeback wins, but nothing that anybody was buzzing about or anything. And the people thought I was going to Ukraine just to make Sinchenko look good so that he could make his American debut. So this is nothing new to me. People have had this opinion of me before going into a big fight, and somehow, some way, I'm able to dig deep and pull these kind of wins out. And until I keep pulling them out, I'm not going to go anywhere. There eventually will be a time where you don't pull these kind of wins out anymore. But right now, I've had a really good camp, and we work very, very hard, and I really want this fight. I feel like it means a lot to the way I'll be remembered in my boxing career as it is in the final stages. So I don't really worry about or really overthink the process of people's opinions and what they're going to think of me going into these big fights, because I've been doubted before, just the same way I'm being doubted in this fight, and I've been able to pull out the results somehow, some way. When I have my back to the wall, it's almost like it's like a cat when it's got its back to the wall, it can do nothing but fight. I'm able to pull out some of my best performances, and so I got my fingers crossed that I'll be able to do that in 2 weeks. I don't want to be a jinx. I've had a really good camp, and I don't want to say it's going to be a great fight or anything, because I feel like I'm going to jinx myself. But it's really been a good camp, and I feel really sharp, and I know Danny's had his doubters as well, so I'm sure he's going to come with that extra motivation. I feel like it's the right time for me and Danny to fight and really put on the best possible fight against each other. The best possible. I think we're going to both bring our best, because we're both forced to bring our best in this fight, because there's so much on the line, and I think for that reason it'll make it a great fight, and for that reason I think fans will get their money's worth, and I look forward to it.
Danny Garcia is being criticized lately, and for good reason. A lot of people feel like he lost 2 out of his last 3 fights, and you've been vocal in the past about how you feel bad decisions go and how that comes about. You're kind of in a situation again where it could easily be seen where you do well in the fight and you do better than the judges give you credit for. Is that a concern of yours, and how do you neutralize that other than a knockout?
I'm not focusing on anything except the fight. That's kind of what I learned about these kind of situations. I went to Houston. I was really overburdened with the thought of the judges, and I still managed to put up a good fight and was robbed. I went to Ukraine. I was overburdened with the thought of the judges, but I just told myself, you know what? Don't even think about it. Just do the best you can do, and don't think about anything you can't control. What you can control is your performance, and what you can control is you have the ability to put on an amazing performance and wow the crowd and wow the people in attendance and the people that are watching on television. So just focus on wowing everybody, and don't focus on the judges and what they think. And so it's kind of the same situation here. Just focus on being my best, being the best fighter I can be, because I know when I'm the best fighter I can be, I wow people and I impress people, and more so than anything else, I also get results, and that's kind of the main factor here, is to getting the proper result on August 1st, and that's what I'm focusing on.
even in the Adrian Bronner fight, which the result wasn't what you wanted, but you were maybe the first to expose that a guy who's considered a heavy hitter, a hard puncher, you can frustrate him, you can stop his offense. Danny Garcia is much in that same camp. People think he's a heavy hitter and whatnot, but you're an analyst, as most fighters are, but you're a professional analyst as well. So when you saw those fights, say the last three, were you looking and saying, you know, oh, I can beat this guy for this reason, that reason? What are you seeing in holes in his game?
I never really thought I'd get a fight with Danny. It never really came across my lap or anything. It was, especially in the Herrera fight, I was preparing for Porter, and then after Porter, I wasn't thinking about fighting at all. So when the fight presented itself, it kind of was more of a surprise than anything else. Obviously, there's pros and cons to everyone's boxing style. I have pros and cons to my style. There's pros and cons to Danny's style. It's a matter of how we make it mesh, how we make it blend, and if I can take advantage of the things that Danny does wrong, and if I can execute my game plan on my end, because I'm more focused on being the best I can be, more so than worrying about what Danny's bringing to the table.
And lastly, Paulie, you've got another career or two waiting for you in the wings. You're doing triple duty right now. When you do determine that it's time to hang up these gloves and move on, what's most important to you that Paulie Malignaggi is remembered for as a fighter?
I think it's important for me to be remembered as a guy who never backed down from any challenges, took on the best fighters that were always available to him. If you look at my track record, I kind of have a throwback mentality in the way I approach boxing. I want to test myself against the best of my era, against the best of my generation. I think if you don't, then there's really, you know, there's really, what's the fun in that? You know, when you're old, you can look back and say, man, I took that guy on, I took this guy on. Whether you win some, you lose some, but you can say, you'll never have the question mark of, man, what if I would have fought that guy? I wonder what would have happened. You know, like, I don't want to have those question marks. I want to fight everybody. And so by that same token, I have that mentality. And I know there's not a lot of fighters have that mentality. I wouldn't say not everyone, but some guys do. But, you know, I certainly am. I feel I'm a throwback in that way to a guy that wants to fight all the big names and just see how he does, you know. And some big fights I've been able to win. Some big fights I've come up short in. But at the end of the day, I continue to thrive for the big moment, and I lust for these big kind of fights because they get me motivated, they get my juices flowing, and this fight is no different with Danny Garcia. I want to be remembered as the guy that try to take on everybody just like in the throwback kind of way. I have 6 losses, but if you look at the combined records of the guys I lost to, when I lost to them, that's what's most important. It's when I took on these kind of guys. It's not just the fighters I took on, it's the fighters I took on and the time frame that I took them on in. I took them on all at their best, and I feel like that should be given credit even in my losses, and of course in my wins. I've been world champion 2 times, so I feel like I've had an underappreciated career. I feel like people take me lightly when they shouldn't, but you know, you can't really focus on people's opinions. You focus on yourself, and I feel like I've done well with my life considering the places I come from and where I've been in my life, and you know, probably the places that I thought I would never be, and people never thought I would be anywhere, you know. So just from that aspect, I continue to strive to be the best, no matter what the odds are against me.
If I can hold you just for one more minute, because when we first met, you may not remember this, was at Wild Card Boxing Gym. You know, you were in the prime of your career. I was a kid or whatever, and you were a staple there. Your trainer, Eric Brown, is there. And recently, there's been so much controversy about your Pacquiao comments and what you said about Freddie, and now Freddie saying you're banned from the gym, and you know, Brown's still there. Talk to me about how you analyze that situation, why you said what you said, and does it matter to you that Freddie says you're not welcome at Wild Card anymore, or you spent so much time, you know, in your prime?
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem with Freddie. If Freddie said that, then that's on Freddie. You know, Freddie owns the Wild Card Gym. I've always had a great respect for Freddie, and I continue to have a great respect for Freddie. I stand by my comments about Manny Pacquiao. I feel like what I've said is the case. I have an educated opinion of behind my reasoning of why I feel that way. I didn't just come out of it and pull it out of my ass. You know, there's been a lot of great fighters in my generation and past generations. I didn't just single out Manny Pacquiao for a certain reason. I singled out Manny Pacquiao because to me it was very clear that there was something very fishy about him. But you know, it's to me, and it's my and I'm allowed to make my opinions. I'm allowed to speculate, especially based on what I know about boxing. And my boxing IQ is far superior to anyone else's boxing IQ that I ever speak to. And I'm very confident in my boxing IQ. I'm very confident in the things I see. I've seen a lot of great fighters. I've never said anything to the regard of them, just like I felt about Manny Pacquiao. There's just something about Manny Pacquiao. Maybe there's other fighters that have not been clean in boxing, but to me, it just didn't stand out the way it did for Manny Pacquiao. For me, for what I see, from what I'm thinking I'm seeing, Manny Pacquiao is just a spit in your face. I mean, you got to be a moron not to see what I've seen. So, or you just don't want to believe it. Maybe he's your hero, and you just rather not believe that a guy like that would do something like that. Hey, it's to each their own. We're all entitled to our opinion. We're all entitled. You're entitled to your prerogative. And that's my prerogative, is to have my opinion of Pacquiao. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't just pull it out of my ass. Having said that, I have a great respect for everybody at Wild Card, Freddie Roach. Obviously, I'm still with Eric Brown, we continue to work diligently, and we'll continue to work hard together. I still think Freddie's one of the better trainers of not just of this generation, but of any generation, and I continue to have that respect for him. But I really do feel at day's end, Freddie will never admit publicly, but Freddie was a fighter just like I was a fighter, and I've been a fighter, and because of that, I feel like he knows, because I feel like any fighter knows what I'm talking about and agrees what I'm talking about. They just don't want the controversy of making those comments publicly. I could care less about the controversy. Either way, it's my opinion. I'm entitled to it.
As you know, being a media guy, being online, you've seen these pictures circulating of you and Heredia, and people are saying that's a got you photo. You want to give me some context about that photo, and is he a part of your camp for this fight?
Yeah. I hired Memo about. I worked out with him in Vegas for Mayweather Fight Week, he just wanted to show me some workouts and see if I liked them and see if we work together. And I worked out with him that week, and I said, you know what, let's do it. I had already been drug testing for the O'Connor fight, so I've actually not been off of random drug testing since I worked with Memo, to be honest with you. But having said that, no fighter cheats that doesn't want to cheat, and a fighter that wants to cheat knows how to cheat. At day's end, I'm a guy that doesn't want to cheat. I try to prove it as best I can. Don't just take my word for it. I volunteer for random drug testing, knowing that Memo was with me. Like I said, I volunteered for it even before Memo was with me. So that just ended up happening that within a few weeks I ended up hiring Memo. It's more than Manny Pacquiao did for 5 years, that's for sure. I mean, it was demanded of him, and he wouldn't do it. So don't look at me as the suspicious one when I'm doing what I can to be clean and show people that I'm clean. Because first and foremost, I have too much of a respect for fighters. Besides the sport, forget about the sport for a second. I respect the sport a lot, but I respect fighters, guys that risk their lives getting in the ring. And I feel like a guy who's not clean getting in the ring against a fighter who's clean will force that guy to risk his life and put that guy's life on the line. We already risk our lives enough when we get in the ring. I would never want to be a part of something that a fighter has to risk his life more because he got in the ring with me and I'm dirty. I would never want to be a part of something like that. I have too much of a conscience for that. I know what each individual fighter sacrifices when they get in the ring. I've let go of the blood, sweat, and tears in the gyms and in my own fights, and I've seen other fighters do it. So I respect that kind of core type of living too much to ever disrespect it and even think about performance-enhancing drugs. But I hired Memo because he's an intelligent guy. He can mainly, first and foremost, I'm having trouble with my weight in recent years as I get older. I don't retain as much energy when I make weight as I used to when I was younger. So it was first and foremost when I talked to Memo. Besides the workouts we did, which were impressive, I was impressed with them because they were strength training workouts that were not too dragged out. In the past, I've had a lot of strength training workouts. They last 2-3 hours. The strength trainer never took into consideration the boxing workouts that I do. Memo's workouts were short bursts so that they left you enough energy for your boxing, not just for that day, but also for the next day. So you get in shape while not blowing yourself out and burning yourself out. And also for the weight making, that was probably a bigger reason because, especially in this camp, Memo's been with me for one weekend, the whole camp. He's been with me literally for one weekend, which was the last weekend when we took that picture. So it's basically a consulting basis. He's a very intelligent guy. He tells me a couple of workouts to do, send me some vitamins, which I had to let USADA know what I was taking before we started camp, because at the start of every camp they want to know what you're taking, and we just continue to put the work in. So I think people blow it more out of proportion because they want to. They're Pacquiao fans, and they don't want to believe that their fighter would ever cheat or their fighter, their hero, would ever do something that's outside of the rules or break any rules. So the fact that I say he does, the fact that I feel he does, they want to get me on something. I'm not a hypocrite, but I think the hypocrisy of those kind of people shows pretty blatantly when you're defending a guy who ducked, juked, and jived random drug testing for 5 years to the point where he avoided the biggest fight boxing could have been made in boxing. And then when he got random drug tested, he became a part of the biggest joke in boxing, which was the one-sided affair that he fought against Floyd Mayweather, which to me only proved that when you random drug test a guy, he wasn't such a good fighter after all, which only proved my opinion to me, further strengthened my opinion that I ever had of him to begin with. So really, I mean, again, we're all entitled to our opinions. We're all entitled to our prerogatives. That's my prerogative on what I want to feel about him. I'm not pushing it on anybody. If people ask me about it, I gave my reasoning as to why I feel that way. But more so than anything, I'm focused on my own career, my own boxing career, and right now I'm focusing on that. In 2 weeks, I have a big fight with a great fighter, and we're both doing random drug testing, and you know that also is something that's exemplary and to be shown by two elite level fighters. And I look forward to the fight in 2 weeks.
Good luck on August 1st. I really appreciate the time and the candor of your opinions, telling me honestly what you think. I appreciate that very much. Radio Raheem with the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi.